is true success in life, when you become part of somebody else's testimony. I want to talk to you about taking your business and your life to the next level. Success in business and success in life is greatly dependent upon our ability to influence others in a positive way.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Ability to Influence podcast. This is your host, Steve Hopper, and I am so excited for today's guest. She is a professional speaker. She is an author. She is a life-changing coach, and she is here with us today to share some of her nuggets on how she became a person of influence, how she gained that ability to influence, and how she is helping others to do the same thing, to chase after their dreams, to reach their goals, to show up in this life. So help me welcome today, Dr. Veronica.
Hey, hi, Steve. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Dr. V, I am so excited to have you on here with me today because, you know, when I reached out to you and asked if you wanted to be on this Ability to Influence podcast, you know, and you said yes, I was super excited because I'm so humbled to have somebody like you here on this podcast, to be able to share your wisdom and your knowledge and your expertise with my audience, because I know that you're going to share some nuggets today that are really going to help people go to the next level. And obviously that is what this is all about, right? It's all about helping people master that ability to influence because, you know, I firmly believe, obviously, that our success in business and life is based on that. Now, when I met you recently, it was at one of my events, you know, not too long ago, right? A few months back.
Yes, absolutely. I was so excited too. Listen, Steve, I have to say this though about, meeting you at that event. I wasn't planning on coming to the event. I wasn't going to come. I was like, I don't want to do another event. I don't want to do it. But when I walked through the door and you had already started, you were speaking, I was like, oh my God, like this is it. So I was very impressed by you, your presentation, what you had to say. And I felt that immediate connection because we're so much alike.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny, Dr. V, because I always talk about, you know, being that person of influence, walking into the room and you don't even have to introduce yourself. You just get everybody's attention. And you were obviously one of those people. Like, you were so energized and you were so fired up and you brought so much energy as a spectator at the event. People were actually coming up to me and you both about halfway through the event going, you know, did Steve plant you in the audience? Because you were like all into everything that was going on.
Yes. And you know what? I didn't really understand why they felt that until I recently did an event and one of my coaching clients was in there and she did to me the exact same thing I did to you. Like, she was just like cheering and it's like, yes, this is great. And she was saying amazing things about me. And at the end, when I made an offer, she was like, you all need to get this because you're not going to find a coach that's going to give you more than Dr. V. And I said, oh my God, she sounds just like me. And I'm sure people thought, oh, she told her to say that. I didn't. But see, Steve, that's the thing. When you have influence on people and you impact people's lives powerfully, they'll begin to be your advocate. They'll be your advertisement. They'll be your walking billboard. And that's how much you touched me.
Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you. That's very, very humbling. And since then, we've had an opportunity to work together at a higher level, and we're doing some cool things. And I know you've got some really awesome things coming down the pipeline, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today as well. But first, you know, I want you to take us on a quick little journey. You know, obviously you're a very successful coach, you're a very successful speaker, you've authored how many books now?
It's 3.
3. Okay. So most people haven't gotten that first book out yet, and you already got 3 under your belt. So obviously you're very driven. You have a PhD. Like, I mean, what led you to this place? Give us a Reader's Digest version of your journey to get to where you're at right now and why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay, so it's real simple, Steve. My mom was 17 years old when she had me. I disrupted her high school life.
Mm.
she put things on hold for me. So I was born to a single mother. My dad was in my life, but I grew up in a 3-room house with no indoor plumbing.
Mm.
My grandparents basically raised me, and I was a first generation college graduate. I was always the first African American this, the first African American that, the first African American, the first African American, the first African American. And so my life was fraught with trailblazing. I've always been a trailblazer. And so I just saw things. I read a lot. Listen, when I tell you I was a ferocious reader, and that's what let me know that there was more than the little small town that I grew up in Russellville, Kentucky. So it opened my eyes. I did speech and debate to travel, and I started this journey. I would visit my aunt in Nashville, where I could see the big city, and it opened me up to more. And I think that's one of the things that people miss. People miss that it doesn't matter where you come from. What matters is what you open yourself up to. Because I'm the oldest of 8, but I'm the only one who has a college degree.
Wow.
Now, it should have been that others followed behind me because I set the example. I tried to bring them with me. But there are some things that, people won't overcome. And that's just theirs to bear. So I went to college, had my first baby when I was a junior in college, graduated in 4 years and a summer with a 3.4 GPA on an honor roll. I was an honor graduate. It was nothing for me to take 18, 21 hours and get a 4.0 or 3.8. Like I really, getting pregnant with my son upped my intensity in my academics. I never let it stop me. Went on to get my master's. I got married, had my second son, and then went on and got my PhD. I got divorced before I got my PhD. Like, it was always some kind of crisis in my life.
Life, right?
Yes, that's right. But I never let life stop me. In fact, I got to the point where I had to stop telling people what was going on in my life because there was always so much going on that it sounded like excuses. So I just stopped, and I just had to learn it doesn't matter what's happening in my life. I've got to get this stuff done. So nobody cares about my excuses. And even if they do, they don't help me. So that's how I ended up here. Is I overcame every obstacle that just came my way. That was my intentionality.
Wow. And so you went on to get this degree. What happened after you got your degree?
So I just knew I was going to be a college president. That was my goal. I wanted to be a college president, wanted to be a department chair, a dean, and a college president. Love research, love doing research. And I encountered some challenges that knocked me back. So this is the deal. When you are outspoken and you are extremely assertive and you know who you are, people don't always know how to deal with you. Right. And that was the case for me in the academy for a while. I created friction in these predominantly white schools. I was the first African-American faculty member at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Department of Communication. And I spoke up. I remember very poignantly, there was a situation where when I first got there, the secretaries had money stolen from them. And I was trying to help them fix something. And for some reason, in my efforts to help, the woman tells the other secretary, well, and she just walked in the office like she owns the place. And I didn't know where your purse was. And I was like, really? Do you think I stole the money? And so I had to have a very difficult conversation with them. See, Steve, I wanted to think growing up that being Black, being African-American didn't matter. Like, that was my whole thought. We're all just people, right? But what I discovered is that while it may not have mattered for me, it mattered for some other people. And so I had to accept that fact. And then I had to level up on that. I would never let me being Black, me being African-American be an excuse. So I always went harder. I did more. I performed better. I superseded the work of my colleagues and my peers because I knew I had to, right?
Yeah, playing at a higher level.
You got
playing
to.
At a higher level.
Got to. And so that's what really led me to coaching. I always wanted to help other people have success. So when I was an undergrad, I wanted to help the people coming behind me. So I tutored athletes. When I was in graduate school, I wanted to help the undergrads. When I became a professor, I helped the undergraduates and the graduate students. And then in life, I said, now I want to translate it to real life. Because it's great to have all this knowledge in the academy and the 4 walls, but let's take it outside of the 4 walls and help the people.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So you started this School of Entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the school. What are you teaching there? Who's the target market for that school? Who's going to benefit the most from it?
So those students who, there are two types of students, right? There's the student who just doesn't do well in the traditional school setting. They ask too many questions. They challenge authority. They are innovators. They're creative. They've got vision for their life. Like they know they want to do something big. And a lot of times the school system, the way it's set up, it's designed to create employees, but they know they're bosses. Even as children, they know like your daughter. Your daughter's a boss. So I can imagine what it's like for an ordinary teacher in an ordinary classroom to try to deal with her.
Right.
Because she's going to be asking questions. Well, my dad said,
Yeah.
well, in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like she's going to be bringing all this stuff up.
Right.
So those students need an environment where they can spread their wings and excel. They're going to get bored operating because they've already done the work. They already are ahead of the game. And so they want to be able to do more. So if they just got to sit and wait for everybody else to get done, that's a problem. Those are children that are entrepreneurs at the core.
Right.
And those children need a place where they can learn the things like mindset, making sure they have a growth mindset, making sure they're reading things like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They're getting their mentality together and they are able to develop businesses. So literally all of my students have to develop their own business and launch it while they're here.
Wow. Amazing. Young entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Have you learned a lot from them?
I have. And let me tell you what I've learned. They pay attention to everything, Steve.
Okay.
When I tell you they pay attention to even the stuff that you think they're not paying attention to. So as we were starting the school, we had some bumps in the road. And so I had obstacles that I had to overcome. And it's so interesting. We had an award ceremony and the students had a chance to speak. And one of the things that they kept saying was, Dr. V, you taught us how to keep going. You taught us what it means to overcome obstacles. And that's one of the biggest lessons that they learn. Yeah, they got the academic stuff, but they learn how to get their minds right to overcome obstacles.
Wow. Wow. What a blessing, right?
Yes.
So it's not just the young people that you're working with and coaching. So this School of Entrepreneurship obviously is just one of your gigs. So you're a professional speaker. Talk a little bit about that. What are you speaking on when you go out there and talk?
Overcoming obstacles, right? Who better to talk about overcoming obstacles than someone who has consistently done so throughout our life?
Wow.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
I teach people how to overcome obstacles and remove excuses. So my first book is Use Your Buckets, 12 Life Lessons for Success. And I talk about the fact that, I grew up in a 3-room house with no indoor plumbing. So we use 5-gallon lard buckets for everything, to carry in water, wood, coal, to store sugar, flour, meal, and at the bathroom. So we didn't have an outhouse. We had a 5-gallon lard bucket. And so I hated those buckets growing up. I hated them. Everything that they represented was work and lack to me. But let me tell you what I learned. I learned some valuable lessons, one of which is that sometimes, an empty bucket is full of possibilities. Like you look at the bucket and it's empty. When my grandmother got through pulling the lard out to fry cornbread and chicken and everything, she would clean it out and then it would become the storage container for the flour, sugar, or the meal, or it would become the bucket that we use to carry in the wood and the coal, or it would become the bucket that served as our bathroom. The same kinds of buckets. They had originally started out with the same content, but once they were emptied, the lesson that I learned was that just because it was empty didn't mean it didn't have value. I could make it be whatever I needed it to be.
Yes. Unbelievable. So you're out there, you're coaching people. We talk about, you mentioned this empty bucket and it being full of possibilities. Let's shift a little bit and we're going to piggyback off of that and talk about the current state of affairs. We had a session last night, and in that session last night, I spoke about people mentioning that this is the new norm. Welcome to the new norm. And obviously I contested that statement because I don't think the situation that we are in right now with COVID-19 and the quarantine and isolation, etc., I don't feel like social distancing is the new norm. Now, I know that one of the things that you work with your coaching clients on is showing up, getting out there and showing up. What is one of the biggest things that you've learned right now in your business going through this time that we're in right now? And what are you teaching to your coaching clients about where we're at right now and where we're headed?
I've learned the mindset makes all the difference in the world.
Mm.
Because for many people, they look at the pandemic and, oh my God, it is crisis. They are overwhelmed. Like, they're just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? I looked at it and I said, okay, how do I need to pivot? What do I need to do? How do I up my skill level? How can I leverage this time where people are at home and they are on their computers and they're Zooming more and they're using technology to increase my business and my reach to those people who normally would be at work during the day? How do I do that? And so I teach my students, I taught this class how to corona proof your income. See, corona didn't stop my income. It actually increased my income.
Right.
I was getting money in more ways and I was working with different people and it began to extend my reach. So it's not what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens to you.
Right. Absolutely.
So you got to change your mindset.
Absolutely. I know you're a lot like me, and a lot of your coaching and the building of your coaching business and the building of your speaking business for a great portion of time was done offline. A lot of offline marketing, going to events, shaking hands, meeting new people, opening doors, doing JVs, joint ventures, etc. And so this quarantine kind of forced people like you and I, who were already starting to dabble online, on the internet, grow our coaching and speaking businesses in that way. And now we're full force in utilizing the internet to do that. So when this quarantine is over, the beauty of it is that we're going to be able to go back out into the market, continue to do the things that we've already mastered, which is that offline marketing, that offline networking, doing live events, going out and speaking to large groups of people, utilizing our network, etc., to grow our circle of influence and continue to lift people to the next level. But the beautiful part of it is that we have this new direction as well for a lot of people, and that is that internet aspect. And I always tell people, we need to have both. You need to have your offline presence and you need to have your online presence, and take your business and your message and your branding to the moon. So this, to me, like you said, has been a bucket that has been full of potential.
Yes.
And I see a lot of people taking advantage of it, but I see a lot of people that still aren't. What do you say to the people right now, the entrepreneurs, the coaches out there, the speakers out there that are not utilizing this opportunity to create new things, that are not making the adjustments necessary to grow their business in this time? What do you say to them?
This is what I say to them. And I tend to be very candid, very upfront, and no holds barred.
That's the only way to be, baby. Authentic.
Listen. If you're not utilizing the online sources and resources that are currently out there, if you're not leveling up your skill, if you're not doing those things, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But don't be surprised when there's someone that just seemingly comes from out of nowhere and skyrockets, and you're looking at them and you say, I do the same thing. Why not me? Because the difference between you and that person is that person took the opportunity to level up their skills. That person took the opportunity to put themselves out there on the internet. That person took this pandemic and turned it into an opportunity, while you were sitting on the sideline saying, well, I'm not good at that. I'm not good at speaking. I'm not good at doing videos. That's the difference. So you get what you get because of what you did.
They're taking advantage of the audience that you could potentially be taking advantage of as well. But you know what? It's not, here's another thing, Dr. V. It's not just about growing your business. It's not just about making money. It's about utilizing these opportunities, utilizing the platform over the internet to reach more people, to impact more people. I believe that success is when you become part of somebody else's testimony. And, we can only reach a certain amount of people offline. You go to a networking event and there's only 30, 40, 50, maybe 60 people in the room at most networking events. You can hop online and you can be in front of 600 people, 6,000 people, 600,000 people. Sky is the limit. So it's about getting your message in front of more people. And I know that you have a powerful message, Dr. V. What is that message?
The world is waiting on you for you to show up and to show out. The world needs you to show up and show out. Steve, I'm so glad you said that. I actually have been doing a lot online for a while, right?
Yeah.
Because honestly, I don't like going to networking events and handshaking and all. I don't like all that. Because people get on my nerves.
Well, we go fix that. But go ahead.
Now I can do live events. Now I'm fine doing live events, but just all of I just don't like all of I don't like the same thing, people saying the same thing over and over again. That agitates my spirit.
I got you.
But let me tell you what, and this is a key example of what happens when you go online. I was trading on the foreign exchange market. I was part of a company and I would do live trading sessions. Steve, I started a group. It was a group called Pips, Praise, and Profits, right? So we would trade, we would listen to praise and worship music, and we would make money. I started the group in December, towards the end of December of, I can't remember what year, but by January, the group had over 1,000 people in the group from all over the world. All over the world, people I did not know. And so we would do these live trading sessions, and I began to establish relationships with people who were in Austria, places I didn't even know how to say the name of, right?
Right.
And one of the things that happened was they would always say, Dr. V, thank you so much because you make me feel like I matter and I can do this. So imagine this. Imagine that you have the opportunity to reach people all over the world with your message. Like literally, if the world is waiting on you, how can you reach the world if you won't go beyond the borders of your town, your city, your community? You literally have to be willing to open yourself up. And the internet allows you to do that.
Right.
Whether you're using Zoom or you're using Facebook Live or YouTube or whatever platform you're using, you've got to know that people are waiting for you to show up, because just like Steve Hopper has become a part of my testimony. Like literally, I talk about him all the time. People get tired of me talking about Steve. Like, I'm like, oh my God, Steve Hopper, he's amazing. But that's because it's hard for me to find people who touch me. Hard for me to find people who move me. Like, I'm just not easily moved, not easily impressed. I'm not. Like, I don't listen to a lot of people. A lot of people can't tell me what to do. But Steve can say, Dr. V, well, we're gonna get that together. We're gonna work on that. And I say, oh God, okay, Steve, let's go, right? Because of the influence that he's had on my life. Well, there are people waiting for you to have that influence on their life. They need you to show up so that you can help move them to where they need to be. Give them the information, the resources, the skill sets that they need. And you are absolutely being selfish when you don't do it. Now that's just it. You're being selfish when you won't step out of your comfort zone to give people what they need to move forward.
Yes. Yes. I always say that, knowledge is power, but sharing that knowledge with others is purpose. Yes. We've all gained a certain level of expertise and a certain level of knowledge through our professional and our personal experiences. We're talking the good, the bad, and the ugly situations have all taught us some very valuable things. And, we're over here, we're growing our businesses, we're growing our reach, and we're learning new things, and we're studying, and we're learning, and we're growing, and we're implementing, and we're teaching the things that we're learning to others so that they can do the same thing, so that maybe it saves them a little bit of time, energy, effort, and pain. And what a lot of people fail to realize is that their experience is powerful. Their knowledge, the things that they've learned through those good and bad experiences is going to impact other people. It's going to change their life. And what we tend to do a lot of times, Dr. V, and I know you know this as well, is we look at the top 1% and we compare ourselves to the top 1% when it comes to success, bank accounts, level of influence, level of impact, etc. And we say, well, I'm not at that level, so nobody's going to want to listen to me. And the reality is that the top 1%, you're not going to grasp their attention anyways. And they're the smallest percentage. They're only 1%.
Right.
So don't look at them. Look at the millions and millions and millions of people that are sitting there right now wanting to know what you know, that want to take the things that you've learned from your experiences and be able to implement them in their own lives or in their own business. So if you're out there watching this right now and you're sitting on the fence, and one of the reasons you are is because you have that limiting belief that you don't have enough knowledge, enough experience, enough success to be able to pour into others, then you need to do what Dr. V mentioned earlier, which is change that mindset.
Yeah.
Change your mindset. Yeah. Dr. V, you got some cool stuff coming up. You got some good stuff going on. You're creating some online courses. You're doing some online trainings. What are you addressing in some of these online trainings? And that way, if anybody's listening and they're interested in jumping on board with you and getting involved, they can do that. Talk a little bit about what you got going on right now currently.
So I'm doing my mic drop boot camp, right? One of the things, I've taught public speaking for over 33 years. I know I don't look old enough to have been doing anything for 33 years other than living, but I am, right?
Yeah.
So I taught public speaking for over 33 years, and it's an opportunity for me to share with people how to create that mic drop experience. For me, I think it's important for people to know that when it comes to speaking, you don't want to just be on the stage. You want to own the stage.
Own it.
Rock the stage. You want to show up, show out, and then at the end, you want to drop the mic. Steve, literally, at the end of your event, like, I was ready for you to drop the mic. I was sitting on the edge of my seat. I was like, okay, he can drop the mic right now. Whatever he's offering, I'm buying, right? Because your impact was so powerful. But people think that it's only us that can do that, Steve. They
Right.
think, oh, well, that's you guys. Well, no, there's actually a skill to it. Part of it is talent. Part of it is just a gift, and part of it is just that we are fine, right? Like, that's part of it. Let's be real. You know, beautiful people like just have a certain presence about them. But the other part is very much learnable. It is learnable, doable, and it doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. You can learn some skills to maximize your personality type and make the stage your own when you're up there. So I'm doing my mic drop boot camp. It's going to be a 7-week program. At the end, we're going to have a mic drop contest and see who wins the mic, right?
Who wins the mic?
The mic the best. I love it, right? So I'm doing that. I've got an online course creation course that's coming up as well, teaching people how to do just what you were talking about. Take the knowledge that you already have, package it, and sell it. Help educate people, provide a service. You know, I was talking to someone today, and they want to do a course. And I'm telling them, listen, you got so much knowledge in you. You just need to package it.
That's right.
And a lot of times people feel like they can't do it, but you can. There's always someone who knows less than you that wants to know what you want to know.
That's right.
And then I'm doing my book coaching. Baby, let me show you how to write this book in 30, 60, 90 days. Knock it out, baby. Let's get it done. And literally, my clients are coming away with finished products. And that's huge for me. I don't have time to just be talking to you. I need you to apply the information as we're going along. So if you're not ready to work, you're not ready for Dr. V. Just stay on over there and play in the sandbox, okay?
That's right.
Stay in the sandbox. Don't get on the court of the field. You're not ready yet. But if you're ready, then you want to definitely get in the game, because the world is absolutely waiting for you, whether it is in speaking, whether it is in online course creation or writing a book, because we all have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Any of those, we need to do it and get it done.
I love it. I love it. Well, Dr. V, thank you so much for being on here today. And, if you had one thing that you could say to anybody that is watching this right now, what would you tell them?
Stop playing yourself small. Stop playing yourself small. You're so much bigger than you know. Because once you realize how big you are, then you'll never show up small again in life. You'll never do that, because you realize that there's someone watching you and waiting on you. And that's why I show up the way I show up every time, Steve, because I know someone's watching, even if I don't know who they are or know that they're watching. Someone's watching, and me showing up in all of who I am gives them the liberty to show up in all of who they are.
Powerful. Show up. The world is waiting on you. Dr. V. Dr. V, where can everybody go to connect with you?
You can go to www.drvlive.com, www.drv.live.com. On social media, my social media links are on there, but at Dr. V Walters on Instagram and Twitter. Just look for me, Dr. V Walters, Dr. V. You'll find me. I'm Googleable.
You'll find her. You can't miss her, right? Bringing so much life and so much energy. Thank you so much for being on this podcast today. I love you. You're a blessing in my life, and looking forward to continued relationship and doing amazing things together. And guys, we're going to have some JVs coming out soon between me and Dr. V. And let me tell you something. You are definitely going to want to follow what's happening there and be part of it if you have that availability, because it's going to be game-changing, life-changing, business-changing. So thanks once again. And remember, our success in business and life is greatly dependent upon our ability to influence others in a positive way. God bless, and we'll see you guys soon.
That is true success in life, when you become part of somebody else's testimony. I want to talk to you about taking your business and your life to the next level. Success in business and success in life is greatly dependent upon our ability to influence others in a positive way.